I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And today we're going to be talking about, should I walk away or can we make this work?
It's a tough question.
It is a tough question. And one of the challenging things that we kind of go through in a breakup is trying to figure out what we can do. Mm-hmm. Can we work it out? Can this, find a way to get back together? Or should we just move on and forget about it and try and put it out of our mind? Mm-hmm. But it's not so black and white, is it?
Right. And a lot of it is about discovering your own limits and how much you can tolerate.
It really is, because everybody is so different in what they're looking for and what they need and what they can tolerate. Mm-hmm. Because everybody has their own set of needs, and so what might be okay for you might not be okay for somebody else.
Exactly.
So we got a good email coaching today that we think you're going to like. And this is from a guy in his mid-30s, and his ex is in her late 20s. Now, they started dating at the end of 2019. And I guess they worked at the same place, and they do sales.
Okay.
And so after, I guess, 3 or 4 months of knowing each other as friends, they started dating. Okay? So let me go ahead right into it. They said, the relationship blossomed pretty quickly, and after about 5 months of being together, she moved in. So that's pretty fast.
Pretty quickly, yeah.
That's pretty fast, 5 months. Life seemed to settle in nicely with her, myself, and my 2-year-old son. Okay, so that's a big responsibility, right? Somebody else's children is a lot to take on. Some people are willing to do that. Some people aren't. I know that when I dated somebody that had kids, it was scary for me at first. It was really like, I didn't know if I could handle that, right. If I was ready for that. And it turned out to be one of the best decisions I made, one of the most painful decisions I ever made. Yeah. But still, I wouldn't take it back because that experience was amazing. But not everybody's ready for that, because I know even at the time I was thinking, oh my gosh, I didn't realize this. This is...
Right.
Kind of scary.
And it complicates things because now there's more investment. In a breakup like this, it's not only a breakup with your partner, but a breakup with their kid too, especially if you have that emotional bond. Yep. It's a lot on the stake.
And you also have another ex in the background,
right,
who may want them back or want them back at some point that you're sharing a child with. And that can complicate things because now there's a lot of guilt and confusion around that, right? So it's a lot, okay? Always something to consider. Things were great between us, and we hardly had any issues. Just a few disagreements that we were able to talk through. We were best friends and soulmates. Just had a crazy strong connection. Of course, it feels like that always in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
We just seemed to connect well on so many levels. We even told our families we will be getting married. Now, I don't know how long they were dating before they said that, but, gotta take your time in getting to know people.
And I'm also considering the time frame, being it was end of 2019. They probably started dealing with COVID a couple months in. Yep. And COVID really either separated people or brought people extremely close together. So it sounded like it could have been a mix of the two in this situation. Yeah.
I think probably caused more breakups than anything.
Yeah.
Because if somebody's not in a good place mentally, all of their outlets were gone at that time, going out with friends and family and going places, movies, even going out to dinner. Yeah. And so I think it caused a lot of breakups there. But it was going well for them at first. We didn't get engaged, but I was ready to ask her. In March of this year, we broke up for the first time. Came out of nowhere, huh?
And first time makes me think that there's many times after this.
Well, we know there's at least one more.
Right.
We got into a fight and she left. She blocked me on everything for a couple of days, then reached out. I don't know what that fight was about.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty intense, though.
And it's really important to think about what that fight was, because the content of it probably has some underlying need that's unmet, some underlying major concern.
Yep. Yeah, there might be some relation to what happened. She blocked me on everything for a couple of days and reached out. I was confused and lost. I had no idea why it was so drastic. It's a good question. Like, I don't know what the topic was that caused the fight or what that underlying issue was, but to block somebody for a couple of days, that sounds pretty intense, right?
Right.
I mean...
And what's interesting about this is a lot of people think that just because there's no conflict in a relationship that it's going well. Like he had said in the beginning, we didn't fight at all. It was going well. But really, the test of a good relationship is if you can manage that conflict. So sure enough, a fight comes up, and what does she do? She blocks you on everything, which is most likely the time that you need to communicate the most.
Yeah. So something was going on here that this is getting pretty intense. She told me she needed to work on herself and deal with trauma she didn't deal with in the past. She said she had high anxiety and felt she had depression. That's a lot, right? She couldn't tell what was real and what she made up in her head.
This is huge.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a bit concerning when because she's, now we don't have a lot of context here, but is she confusing what she's imagining scenarios in her mind with what actually happened?
It's a possibility. And we also know that depression can be so severe that it actually causes you to distort reality.
That's right. Yeah.
And so it's possible that it could be that.
If it's a major depression. Yep. With a major depression, people can actually have hallucinations and hear voices and see things. And I've had clients that had that with severe depression before.
Yeah.
So people don't think of that with depression, but yeah, that's true. Okay. She said she did that a lot with me. So it sounds like there was some kind of like inner world going on with all these narratives about what's going on in their relationship that he doesn't even know is going on. Right? So she's probably in the shower imagining the fight's going 45 different ways than it actually went. And I wonder if it was because of depression.
It's possible.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that she's insightful enough to know that and to verbalize it to her partner. That's pretty incredible for somebody in that state.
Yeah. She had a hard time trusting men as she was physically and emotionally abused from a couple of past boyfriends. And more intense stuff going on there, right?
Yep. Whenever you see a history of troubled relationship, it normally points to something going on in early childhood, because attachment is attachment, and attachment to caregivers translates into your romantic relationships.
And who we're attracted to.
Exactly.
Yeah. We did reconnect after a couple of weeks. We took it slow, easing back into our relationship, but she did move out. She bought a house, which she always wanted to do, and I supported that. Well, that's a big decision, right? Buying a house. I mean, she's moving out, and I don't know how quickly after she moved out, but she bought a house, but that's almost like I'm finalizing this in some weird way, right? Because, I mean, they were talking about getting married, and here she is buying a house.
Yeah.
Seems like a really rash decision to make.
And it also seems like a reach for autonomy. I want my own space, bought with my own money, and I'm making this effort to move out and create my own home. Yeah. And I mean, anybody who's bought a house ever knows how stressful that process can be.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, so I helped her move in and remodel a few things. It was important to her, so it was important to me. Well, that's thoughtful.
Yeah.
I did my best to make her feel safe and not provoke her anxiety. So it does sound like he was really trying here to be patient and understanding, right? We started to get more serious again as I was going to her mom's wedding and double dates with her friends. Things seem to be going in a great direction. Fast forward to a couple of weeks ago at the end of July this year. We had the whole weekend together, and it was amazing. She was telling me how much she loved me and how she had never had someone support her as much as I did. She valued our connection. So it sounds like she was really saying a lot of nice things about this guy, right?
I'm also bracing myself because we know that in times where there is a lot of intense intimacy and connection, those who do have attachment wound and attachment trauma are triggered.
Yep.
So I'm holding my breath here.
All right, hang on. Talking about our future together and how it will be. See, now they're going to start to overwhelm each other. 4 days later, we meet up for a dinner date and take our dog for a walk. Conversation was going well, but it turned. She started bawling and told me she has to end things to work on her depression and anxiety. Now, sometimes people say this and it feels like BS, but it feels authentic here.
Yeah.
Right.
And especially with depression, I've had experiences where clients have told me, you know, I'm trying to pull myself out of this depression without the help of anybody because for my entire life, I've lived for my mother, I've lived for my kids, I've lived for my friends. And for once, I want to live for myself. And so I don't know how severe or intense her situation is, but this really sounds like something she felt that she had to do and do alone.
Yeah, and it feels authentic.
Yeah.
And when you're depressed, you just don't have any energy to give to somebody else. That's true. And I know because I was really struggling with depression last year when I lost my dad and one of my best friends and his dad within a span of like less than 3 weeks. And it wasn't my thoughts, aside from missing them, that it was causing me to be depressed. It was just overwhelming to lose that many people that close to you in such a short amount of time. You have to be extremely resilient. And even then, it sapped a lot of my energy last year.
Yeah.
No matter what I would do. So I want you guys to understand that imagine you feel absolutely overwhelmed with exhaustion. That's how a depressed ex may be. Like if you have somebody that was dating and they were depressed, they may feel overwhelmed with exhaustion. And so they just don't have the energy to give. Yeah. And that's kind of what I feel like is some of that is going on here.
Yeah, I also sense that.
Okay. I spent the next day texting her trying to figure out what happened. She just told me she needed this and it felt right. I'm a week into no contact and started therapy myself, working on my own trauma that I haven't dealt with. Yeah. I love her dearly and want things to work out. Should I consider walking away completely, or is there a chance after no contact we can make this work? Well, for me, what I'm seeing here is that this is about her mental health. If she's not being authentic and there's other reasons, I haven't seen any. Right? I don't get any vibe of that other than what he said here. So if she works on her mental health issues and works through that anxiety and depression, I think you guys could turn this around.
Yeah, I think it's very possible. I do think it's ironic, though, that people in depressed states sometimes do feel like they have to go through it alone. And that's really the worst thing that you can do is to isolate yourself. And so my hope for her would be that she does find a social support network. Maybe it can't be her partner right now. Maybe for whatever reason, she feels that her partner is not the person to support her through this time. But it does seem like she is making steps towards her mental health. And it sounds like you are as well. Yep. I think that's, the thing that I'm happiest to hear in this entire story is that this experience has led you to your own personal growth journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, if she's continues to struggle with her mental health, you have to be able to be equipped emotionally to handle that. And it's not going to be easy at times because there may be something that triggers her anxiety or depression again. It could be an anniversary reaction or something like that. And then she just doesn't feel like she has it in her to continue. And then if you're still insecure, you can, come on too strong and try and push for things and wind up breaking up again.
Exactly.
So I think that it's not necessarily like a black or white thing, like, should I walk away completely or is there no chance? For me, it's more about you getting to a good place, allowing her the opportunity to do the same, and if it permits, you guys work it out together. Right?
Yeah, I definitely think that there can be a lot of healing in this. And there's a quote that says, relationships are a healing experience.
Yeah.
It's really both of you working together and seeing what attachment wounds come up as you interact, as your intimacy deepens, and working on those. And so I think, even if it ended right now and maybe space is what is best for you at the moment, ultimately relationships are a healing journey.
Yeah, ideally, right? You don't want to just continue your traumas.
True. If you are both aware and if you're both working and willing to work on your issues, which it sounds like if you both are not there already, you're reaching that place.
Yeah. So leave her be for now. Let her work on her issues. You don't want to put your life on hold, but you also don't want to rule out the possibility of getting back together too. But you just want to make sure she's in a good place when you do, and you really want to communicate about that and make sure she's in a good place, and maybe offer to go with her to her therapist or her come to yours, and make sure that it's just you're both in a good place trying to work it out. That's what I would say.
Exactly. And ultimately it's up to you to decide. You can decide how much patience you have to give to a partner and how much investment you want to put into this relationship.
Yeah.
So there might be a point where you might be overwhelmed by dating somebody with this level of depression and anxiety. And that's completely a personal decision.
Absolutely. And only you guys can make that for yourself through really evaluating it. So hopefully you found this one helpful. And of course, if you want to get our help personally, you can do it on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. And Victoria is also doing Skype coaching.
Yes, hoping I can help.
Just click on her name at the top of the website to do that. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.